Hello and welcome to Money Talks. I'm your host, Ed Marshall. Well, thousands of our Louisiana neighbors are still trying to put their lives back together again following last month's devastating floodwaters. The flood has been called the worst U.S. national disaster since Hurricane Sandy in 2012. The federal government is providing disaster aid through the Federal Emergency Management Agency, known as FEMA. And just like the resilience and volunteerism shown to Hurricane Katrina victims 11 years ago, it's everyday people from around the country who are also lending a hand. We'll have more when we come back.
You're watching WLAE, New Orleans Public Television. Find us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Well, welcome back to Money Talks. Whenever there's a disaster, the American Red Cross is one of the first to be on the ground. I know that because I assisted during Hurricane Katrina back 11 years ago. And they're there and they're working hard. And of course, I wanted you to talk with someone or rather meet someone who I've known for a long time, and that's Mr. Kearney Gay, who is the Chief Development Officer for the Louisiana American Red Cross. Kearney, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me, Ed.
I know you have been on the ground since day one about, so just kind of give us an update on where we are. What's going on?
Sure. So right at the beginning, we were opening emergency shelters as so many places were getting flooded and surrounded. We even had emergency shelters that were surrounded by water that we had to airlift through Black Hawk helicopters supplies into. So our immediate response is making sure that the citizens that are in the flooded impacted areas have a safe place to go when their homes are flooded. And so it becomes a sheltering operation at that point. We had over 10,000 people in shelters in that first week in about 50 plus shelters throughout the different parishes that were affected.
And when people talk about people, I mean, I don't know if we assimilate just how many people were affected. How many people and how many homes are we talking about?
It's an astounding number. Over 100,000 homes have been impacted in some way, and the majority of those damaged heavily. And then you do the math, that's about roughly over 250,000 people.
It's a lot of folk.
It's a lot of folk.
So what are we doing with them now? Some of them are able to get back into their homes and start. I see all the cleaning out, the debris and all that kind of thing. So what is American Red Cross doing to assist them as the days go on?
Sure. So what our plan is, not what we have been doing, is when the sheltering operation starts we see the population go down, we're in the neighborhoods then providing bulk distribution items, shovels and cleanup kits and bleach and gloves and hand sanitizers, and then on top of that, food and snacks and drinks for free. We canvass neighborhoods. We've been all over canvassing with 50 emergency response vehicles and box trucks loaded up with items to just get people to help them gut their homes and muck them out and get ready so that they can get the mold out of there and start to get on their way to recovery.
And I'm sure you've gotten a lot of volunteers to come in and assist you guys.
Not only our own, which is roughly in Louisiana, we have about 2,000 on standby throughout the state, but the part of the American Red Cross is we have volunteers that have been deployed here from all over the country, over 2,000 extra volunteers, and on top of that, staff members from all the other states around the country that have come in to support this disaster because of the scale of it.
Right, and then you still got kids that are still trying to, schools are still trying to be repaired, so you all have got much to do, and of course that takes money. So what is the American Red Cross doing to try to gather monies additional for this particular situation?
Absolutely. In this size of a disaster, the whole country starts to rally. So my counterparts in the other states, we're all fundraising for the Louisiana floods, and all dollars go to Louisiana floods. They don't stay in Texas or
Yeah,
wherever
because I want
they
to clear
go.
that up. Because some people think, well, the money is going to go. Well, I'm going to give my money, and it's going to end up in Dallas or someplace.
This is a designated disaster, and it goes to Louisiana Floods. But we specifically here are trying to reach as many foundations, individuals, corporations that can help donate, because the Red Cross we buy items in large quantities, bulk items on pallets, and we get it tax-free. It's harder for us to take small amounts of clothing and food. That's what we work with local partner agencies like the food banks,
Second Harvest, and
Second Harvest,
great guys. Well, we're gonna
and we work with
later.
them extremely closely, and we give people vouchers to go get those things.
Right.
But our biggest need is for financial donations so that we can provide the bulk amounts of food that we need to supply for the shelters and the neighborhoods and the bulk items to help people get on their way. And on top of that, we will be giving out financial assistance as well for the people that do not qualify for FEMA. And that's direct money in people's pockets to help them get back in their homes.
And how do people do that? How do they get in touch with you guys? How do they get those monies to you?
Absolutely. When they can go on to redcross.org, and all of the information is on there. If you want to volunteer, you can volunteer through the volunteer button. If you want to donate on redcross.org, there's a donate button, and it's specific to Louisiana floods. FEMA obviously is going to be in there, and everybody that is affected should be applying for FEMA. We have that information as well.
Right.
But there's also a way to apply through Red Cross for if you do not get assistance from FEMA.
Kearney, thank you for coming, and thanks to the Red Cross for all that you all do, and we certainly hope people will reach out and assist. Thank you for coming by.
Thanks, Ed. Appreciate it.
Well, that's what the Red Cross is up to and what they're doing. But people are also volunteering, just regular folks and a lot of business people, including the man that's joining me right now, Mr. Kevin Reed. And he and a lot of other corporate professionals put down their banking pins and their whatever else they're doing in the community as their business professionalism. And they decided to go out and do some things and help the community in Denham Springs. Denham Springs, 90% of the homes there were devastated, and some 68% of the businesses. So Mr. Kevin Reed got involved. You with First NBC Bank, but you also got involved and got some of your other friends involved, and you all went out and actually decided to put the pins down and actually get some barbecue utensils in hand to help feed people. Tell us about that, and why did y'all do it?
Thank you, Ed. We certainly saw what went on in Denham Springs and the communities around there, and looking at the devastation, we pulled a team together. It was kind of an eclectic group of folks, but for a common good. Can we feed some of the populace and help get them back on their feet? So we pulled together a group, and folks from like Rick Murphy with Murphy Appraisal Service, and he donated a big barbecue pit and came up, and we grilled hamburgers for over 425 people. We had bankers from First NBC, the folks from Mugshots, which is a great business. They came in and provided hamburgers and buns and all the accoutrements that go with it. And with that, and with our bankers, with other folks, Ed Rapier, an attorney here in town, he donated equipment, and we cooked. We cooked from early in the morning till 2:30 in the afternoon, feeding the populace.
And it must have been exciting for them, because I'm sure a lot of those people hadn't had a hot meal.
When we had the folks lined up, some of them, they were crying when we were giving them new food, fresh food, hot food. And what they said to us, they've been eating peanut butter and jelly for over a week. This was their first hot meal. And that's what, you're truly giving back to the community and helping those folks along. That's
got to be truly gratifying. And you all do this as part of a large organization, your Hogs for the Cause organization, which is, as I understand it, you all work to help stamp out pediatric brain cancer. And then you all also do things just for other benefits like the floods at Denham Springs.
Correct. There's a team, Swine Crew, which I'm part of and Rick Murphy's part of, and we do the Hogs for the Cause and raise funds there. And when we have other events, the same team was out earlier in the week cooking for first responders and providing to them. So we do what we can, pay it forward, give back to the community that gives to us.
And I got a feeling y'all will probably be going back down there.
Well, we're planning to do several more weeks of getting out there and barbecuing and cooking different things and providing hot meals to those folks who are rebuilding. They're rebuilding their homes, they're rebuilding their businesses, they're rebuilding their lives and their families.
Well, Kevin, be sure to thank Mr. Rick Murphy with Murphy Appraisals, as well as Mugshots, and also thank you and the crew that you work with the Swine Crew and Hogs for a Cause. All the things you all do to help make the lives of our fellow citizens better during this turbulent time.
Thank you, Ed. We appreciate it.
Okay, we're going to be back with more Money Talks after this, so stay with us.
Is the woman who did the Heimlich maneuver on my grandma. We had just got her food, and then she took a bite of her steak, and I was super scared, and my brother was very little, so he had no idea what was going on. I was really scared, and so I'm really glad she survived that.
And welcome back to Money Talks. There's been quite a bit in the news lately since this summer's completion of widening the Panama Canal. It seems the widening project will have a tremendous impact on the entire United States. We recently toured the port along with members of the Algiers Economic Development Foundation, who were updated on the Panama Canal and how it will boost economics even more so at the Port of New Orleans.
So as part of our community outreach efforts, we've begun a Wednesdays at the Port series in which we bring in community activists, business leaders, civic organizations, the academic community to really connect with them, educate them, and see how ways we can collaborate. And so part of that's giving a lunch and a presentation, overview about the Port of New Orleans, our size, our scope, and economic impact, because we are Louisiana's economic engine. And by the way, we give them a tour of the Port of New Orleans, where they see 80% of our operations, containerization, break bulk cargo, they see refrigerated cargo, and our cruise terminals as well, where we're now the 6th largest cruise home port in the United States and 9th largest in the world. So our hope is that every individual that comes to the Port of New Orleans through the Wednesdays at the Port and through our community outreach program, go back into our communities and be advocates for the Port of New Orleans, because it's really our Port of New Orleans. And it just really shows how our connections run deep at the Port of New Orleans.
And today we learned that there's a $300 million a day impact. That's $300 million a day impact in which the mighty Mississippi River causes to the American economy. So we just want to make sure that the businesses, the stakeholders, and investors understand what the port is all about. Indeed, out of the 21 people that we had as guests, they all found tremendous information. More so, they found out about the 22 plus acres in Algiers that's available for import-export opportunities. So again, the impact of the port, it doesn't just affect just New Orleans, it affects all of America. So today, that was the takeaway.
The widening of the Panama Canal was also on the minds of a gentleman named Gregory Robat from Algiers. And of course, he wanted to know what was the answer about that from Money Talks financial expert, Ashton Ryan Jr. And Ashton also expressed his optimism for what will happen as a result of the Panama Canal widening. Here's Ashton.
Port is a great opportunity with the widening of the canal. We import huge amounts of goods from China, Japan, and other eastern countries that all come across the Pacific. And today they land in West Coast ports, and they're transship their goods by rail mostly, sometimes by truck. It really is a great opportunity. I think the canal just opened. I'm sure it's just in the maiden voyages of opening, but it'll allow those huge container ships that come from those countries to be able to pass through the canal, and therefore they can take a little slower route to get to their customer, but it's a much, much, much less costly route. So I think it's going to be a great opportunity for New Orleans. You know, New Orleans sits at the mouth of the Mississippi River, the greatest transportation river in the whole world, and I really think that that's going to be a great opportunity for us to grow our business and get more and more of the business that's historically been on the West Coast, and I think we will do that.
And there you have it. And if you have a question for Ashton Ryan, our community expert, feel free to contact us by going to the Facebook page, and we'll make sure that we get your question to Ashton. We'll be right back. Hello, I'm Ed Marshall, money coach and host of the Money Talk Show. Our goal each month is to keep you informed on financial issues affecting you and your family. Whether it's concerns about the stock market, mortgages, local community initiatives, or decisions made on Capitol Hill, we do our best to bring you news that you can use. So join me for Money Talks every Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. right here on WLAE. Well, welcome back to Money Talks. The numbers are staggering, and we have some local people who are trying to help basically take those numbers and reduce them and actually get rid of them. And I'm talking about prostate cancer. The statistics show that there are about 100,000 men per year get prostate cancer. And those are the statistics from the 2010 through 2012 data. But the local Tulane Cancer Center is trying to do something about that. And joining me now is the communications director, my good friend Melanie Cross. It's good to have you back.
Thank you for having me.
Last year, you all did something super. You all said, okay, we're going to work on trying to stamp out prostate cancer and did a fundraiser for that. And it's happening again this year.
It is.
So tell our audience about it.
Sure, it's our NOLA Blue Dew Run. This is our third year. It's a walk run, 2-mile walk run that takes place on Tulane's Uptown campus October 1st. Saturday afternoon starts at 5. But more than that, it's a party, and it's a celebration of prostate cancer survivorship. We have lots of patients and family members come out just to celebrate survivorship and to help raise awareness and dollars, important dollars, that helps support the research that takes place right here in New Orleans.
Right. And speaking of dollars, you all are working with a local First NBC Bank, Community
Yes.
Bank, again this year. And their branches are going to be available if people want to just come in and donate funds from September 1st through the 16th.
Absolutely.
So that's amazing, because that happened to be quite a fundraiser for you all last year with them.
It really
And now
was.
it's on the South Shore and the North Shore for
Yeah.
their branches.
Yeah, FNBC it was one of our gold sponsors for the event this year, but they've generously also run a campaign in their lobbies, and their customers were very generous and made additional donations last year, every penny of which stayed right here in New Orleans and was put to work in Dr. Oliver Sarter's research laboratories.
And that's fantastic, and he's been working on that for a while. And since last year we talked, I can personally say, my brother had a bout with prostate cancer, but he is now cancer free at this point. So we're praying that will
Wonderful.
continue to go well. So it hits home, and I tell people it's not just not necessarily runs in families. It can, but men should be more cognizant about going to get prostate checks.
Absolutely, and that's what this is all about. We want to raise awareness, and we want men to be more proactive when it comes to their health. Prostate cancer is the second leading cause of cancer death in American men, and the numbers are staggering. And we want men to be proactive. We want them to talk to their doctors about getting checked. And that's what Blue Dew is all about. It's a party, but more than that, it's to raise awareness.
Right, and to raise awareness, like you said, about people who have lost someone or who are surviving and say, I'm gonna
Right.
beat this thing, and people like you all continue to put money into research. It's going to help make that happen.
Absolutely, and we're doing it in a way that's uniquely New Orleans.
Yes.
It's a party. We have George Porter Jr. and Brian Stoltz playing of the Funky Meters. We have over 20 restaurants that are going to be handing out food. We have drinks. We have a kids tent, survivor tent. It's a party, and costuming is encouraged, of course. It's New Orleans.
And we're going to show that website while you're talking
Exactly.
about that too.
We want our people to come out costume in blue, which is the color of prostate cancer awareness. And it's going to be a lot of fun for a great cause.
And I understand you may have some celebrities off television.
We do. We're so fortunate. Christian Jules LeBlanc from The Young and the Restless is our Grand Marshal again this year. He's a wonderful friend.
He is. He's a great guy.
And he's bringing co-star of his from the show, Sean Kerrigan. He plays Dr. Stitch Rayburn. And so we'll have the both of them there. So if you're a Y&R fan, you want to be at Blue Dew October 1st.
And tell us why he personally got involved in this.
His character on The Young and the Restless was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and so he got connected with Dr. Oliver Sarter, who's the head of the prostate program at Tulane, to get some advice on how best to play the role of a prostate cancer patient and survivor. And so they did some telephone calls and some consultations, and then he said, he would be happy to come down and join us for Blue Dew. And that was last year, and he's coming back this year. We're fortunate to have him.
Okay, well, people can go to the website and get all that information. Melanie Cross, thank you so much for being with us. We wish you the best. I'll be out there. I'll be doing a walk. I won't be doing a run, but I will be out there. We appreciate what you all do and what the Tulane Cancer Center is doing to help stamp out prostate cancer. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay. Well, we talked about men having prostate cancer and what's being done to try to stamp out that cancer. But we also want to talk about some of the cancers that affect women, particularly breast cancer, and what women go through, even though they have some support groups, but nothing is like having someone who also has been through that kind of thing. Joining me today is a lovely lady I've had a chance to meet, and her name is Lisa McKenzie. And Lisa established a support group for women called YL Unite. And Lisa, thank you for being with us. And we want you to tell our audience about what that is and what this support group does for women who, majority have had breast cancer, but some have had other cancers.
Yeah, and the name is Unite, and
Unite.
it's a play on words.
Okay.
Because what we know from our experience is that everybody seems to know somebody who has had cancer, and whether it be a loved one or a friend or a neighbor. And when you start reaching out to the community to support women who have been adversely affected by cancer, it's amazing how many people have come forward, whether it be local businesses for financial support or salons and boutiques, makeup artists, videographers, photographers. It's this team of people who come together to train these ladies professionally to walk the runway. So they meet as a group, they are introduced, they all are strangers, and then by the time they get on stage 5 months later, they have learned life skills through this coaching that gives them self-confidence and helps them take brave steps that they never knew were possible, and discover something about themselves, and then inspire the audience as well to say, wow, if those ladies can do that, then I can do that.
Yeah.
I can do
This was
anything.
your brainchild, what, in 2013?
Yes.
Yeah. And so what has it been like for you, and not only as the founder, but someone who was affected by cancer, but to see these ladies actually get that self-esteem back?
Yeah, well, my experience with cancer is just having a loved one who has had cancer, and really...
And I wanted to point that out. It was your loved one that had cancer.
Yes, it was my
Right,
mom who had
right.
breast cancer.
Yeah.
But really, what I think the program is about is not as much about cancer as what lies beneath cancer. What are the emotional side effects that happen to any woman, a woman, when you are when you're facing your mortality and you're having all this physical change. So these ladies not only are losing body parts or having reconstruction, things that are making them feel shameful, but they're having things change with their sex drive. They'll lose their taste buds. They have chemo brain. They're tired. Watching these ladies who enter the program not believing in themselves, and then seeing at the end they're better, they will say they're better than they've ever been in their entire life, and are grateful that they went through everything. So a lady just said the other day in one of our trainings, she said, cancer has shown us how to be really sick. Unite has taught us how to really live.
Wow. And you all you expanded the program this year from the North Shore to the South Shore as well.
Yep.
And so people who want to give can certainly do that. How do they get in touch, and how do they reach out and say, I want to support these ladies?
We are supported by sponsored donations for sure. And so like we have the Center for Restorative Breast Surgery in Dr. Williams' office. She's an OBGYN. There's a lot of doctor-related supporters of ours, but there's other independent people who just know that we're doing the right thing for women in our community. All the money stays local and goes right back into the program. The ladies are gifted with the experience, and our goal is to be able to grow it. We take 24 ladies at a time, but obviously we want to help more. We have a waiting list of 70 ladies to get into our program. We're not going to turn anyone away, but we definitely need the financial support to be able to put them through the 5-month program and get them on stage so that they can have the night of their life.
And people can see that. We put that up on our screen where they can reach out and do that. We wish you well. Thank you for what you're doing in our community. These are the kind of things that Money Talks likes to bring to the forefront, because they're things that people may not know about. And everyone in some way has been affected by a mom, a sister, a brother, or a sister or a friend, a girlfriend or somebody in their lifetime that's had these experiences. And what a wonderful thing you all are doing to help bring that self-esteem back for these ladies, let them walk the runway and say, I'm back.
Thank you. And we live in a really generous community of people who care about each other. So we're so lucky to be here.
All right.
Thank you.
Lisa, thanks for being with us.
Thank
We
you.
really appreciate it. And we're going to be back with more Money Talks right after this, so don't go anyplace. We appreciate you being a viewer.
You're watching WLAE, New Orleans Public Television. Find us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Well, welcome back. A New Orleans organization seems to be making great strides in caring for the homeless in our city. Established just a couple of years ago, Grace at the Green Light is providing essentials for the homeless and showing them there are people who care about them. Outreach Director Sarah Park says an immediate mission is to provide food and shelter, but the ultimate goal is to reunite people on the street with their families.
We feed meals 7 days a week, so we are up bright and early at 6:30 in the morning every morning. So we love to have volunteers come out and help serve meals with us. We also pass out water under the expressway downtown daily, and we love to have volunteer groups come do that as well. We are always looking for volunteers, whether it be one person or a whole large group of people. We love to get you involved in serving the local homeless community. We actually had a really exciting week last week. We sent home our 500th person to their family, and basically we found the need that the homeless may have family elsewhere, and their family might be willing to take them in and help them get the services they need and put a roof over their head. They just didn't have the resources to get there. So we decided to start our Going Home program, and we talked to the homeless individual and we find out their story, what got them to the streets and how long they've been there, all of that kind of information. And then I'm a social worker and I call their families and talk to their families to make sure they have a place to go that's stable and a warm, loving environment. And then we move from there. So we purchase a train ticket or a bus ticket and we pack up food for them for their ride and we send them home. So we also do follow up at 1 week, 3 weeks, and then 3 months to make sure that see if they're still with their family or if they're in a place of their own. Right now, our statistics show that only 4% are back on the streets, so we consider that an amazing success.
If you'd like to help the homeless in our community and for more information on the organization, go to its website at www.graceatthegreenlight.org. The mission of the Jefferson Council on Aging is to assist the senior citizens of Jefferson Parish to age with dignity and independence in a place and manner of their choice. The organization was established in 1970 and has grown to 10 senior centers throughout the parish. We spoke with Development Director Liz Yeager about services offered by the council and what we as fellow citizens can do to help our elderly neighbors.
We have a senior meals program where we deliver meals to people's home that have established the that show that they cannot prepare or procure their own meals. Currently, there's a waiting list of about 450 seniors, so people can make donations to help feed seniors. It costs about $8 a meal. They're about 1/3 of the daily nutrition for a senior, and they are delivered warm to people's homes. And so if people truly want to help and they have the means, that is critical. So to feed a senior for one complete year, it's about $2,000. So, and any derivative of that certainly would be helpful. There are other areas like senior employment, material aid like adult diapers that give people the ability to have a life with the freedom of knowing that they won't have an accident. There's areas like transportation where we pick up seniors from their homes and bring them to the senior centers, as well as our 10 senior centers where we have activities happening throughout the day that help seniors be engaged with the community.
And for more information, the website is www.jcoa.net. Well, that's going to do it for Money Talks for this month. Until next time, remember, it's your money, make it work for you. And do something good for yourself and do something good for someone else. Until then, we'll see you.